All right, welcome back. So we just talked about dot notation and how with dot notation you have segments, and a segment can be like a namespace, a resource, or some kind of action. Now I want to talk about view input normalization. So when you're doing a file make view, you're giving this dotted structure, and I wanted to be as forgiving as possible. I didn't want people to get frustrated with the tool. If you want to use capital letters, let you use capital letters. If you're thinking, I use the dot, like it was intuitive to me because of the SQL alchemy, right? Like that's the object relational mapping says, here's my recipes, and or here's my recipe, give me all the comments. So you use dot notation. So I just carried on dot notation. But if you're thinking folder structuring, you start using slashes, by all means use slashes. And then a lot of times we can't just describe things in one words, like shopping list. That's not a shopping object and a list object. That's one thing. It's a shopping list object. And so you need to put a dash between there or an underscore. And I didn't want you to have to think, well, which one is it? Is it the dash or the underscore? Am I going to mess it up if I use capitals? Use whatever you want. And if your finger is like mine and it's a little big and you hit the button 3 or 4 times on the dot, that's okay too. It's going to simplify all those down. So here's some examples of inputs. They get normalized down. Let's kind of go through those slowly. So suppose you have recipes, and a recipe has a comments, and you want to see all those. You want a page that shows all those comments for a particular recipe. Then you would do recipes.comments.index. But if you're thinking folder structure, you might do recipes/comments/index, and that's completely fine. Flask-Commands is going to convert that to the dot, and behind the scenes, you're not going to have to worry about it. And so, if you want to use slashes, by all means, use slashes. I will be in my tutorials using dots, but it'll work the exact same. Now, if you need to keep 2 words together, like shopping list is your resource is a multi-word thing. That's one resource, completely fine. We need that ability in our applications. Then you can use either a dash or an underscore. Now, officially, it's the underscore. So you'll see me using underscores when I do this, but you can use minus signs or dashes too if you prefer. So dots kind of separate things into different structures. Underscores or minuses keep the words together as one segment. So this would be one segment here, shopping list. Then the next segment is index. Here's pantry items, that's one segment. And then show is a segment. And then recipe reviews is a segment, and then index is a segment. So if you want to keep the words together, use underscores or minuses. All right, and then this is just, you're typing something and then you backspace a whole bunch and you hit enter before you look at it and you realize, ooh, I've got 2 dots next to each other, or I've got 3 dots next to each other. That's completely fine. Flask-Commands is going to clean that up for you, and it's just going to be the 1 dot, and you're good to go. This one, I was like, people are going to, in the make controller and the make model, we use camel case, and I'm like, people are going to use camel case or try to use camel case or not know whether they should put uppercase or lowercase. And so all these ideas were just running around in my head, and I thought, okay, let's just normalize things. So if you put camel case or you capitalize any part of your input for make view, it's going to just lowercase. It's everything. So um, use uppercase if you feel like you need to. If you don't, then use the lowercase because we're going to normalize it to lowercase. All right. In the next video, we'll now talk about some naming conventions. As far as we've talked a lot about the dot notation and the kind of the naming convention going on for make view, but we've just briefly talked about what you'll see in make controller and make model. So we'll touch on that in the next video.